Lights out, we're underway. Motorsport Republica podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a bit of a special guest down at Phillip Island.
Last minute special guest.
No, I appreciate that, Gav. Thanks for coming on. Gavin Emmett, world famous commentator.
From TNT Sports.
Yeah, and thank you for coming because it was such last minute, and also for you, it's a long flight. It's a big is it the biggest trip of the year?
It's definitely the longest set of flights. I did 4 flights to get here. Door to door, about 32 hours or something like that. But that's fine. Actually, do you know what? Indonesia, to get to Indonesia, if you come from the UK last year, that took us about, I think we went from Italy actually, it took us about 40 hours.
Yeah.
Because you had to have it, it's so hard to get there. There's only like one flight a day one from Singapore, one from Bali, one from Kuala Lumpur. That's it. And everyone's in it to get. If you're not on one of the Dorna charters, then you're screwed. So, yeah.
Well, we had a similar situation in Buriram this year. It was like 2 flights in, 2 flights out.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people, some people drive up there.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. Boys, 1 year.
Yeah.
Get on a scooter, do it. This is the 7 hours on a scooter.
Oh my God, imagine.
I mean, I would say go on a motorcycle up there, but I wouldn't be doing it on the road from Bangkok up to Buriram. Yeah.
Well, it's a risky, we heard from a lot of people, it's a risky drive.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a very risky drive with this cattle coming along there. But it's a bit different Phillip Island. It's a little bit nicer scenery.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Just.
It's an enjoyable drive down. I did it this morning, and it's always a pleasure to come down, come over the bridge for the first time. Feels good. And when it's a day like we've got,
I know.
there is no better place in the world to come to for a motorcycle racetrack. However, that usually is the calm before the storm. Literally,
it can change within an instance. And there's Tom and I have been coming down since 2003 as little kids, and we know it better than anyone, just the weather and how it works here. I was saying to you before, the weather, being a weatherman in Phillip Island is the hardest job in the world because you cannot.
You're on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah, you cannot predict anything, but. At least it's not raining for a fan. At least it's not raining up until the Grand Prix. Otherwise, it just turns into a big mud pit.
Yeah.
And that's no fun for anyone.
No, and everyone riding down as well.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the safety of that is very important because there's a lot of people that make the trip. Yeah, from Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane.
I feel for everyone who's coming and probably has ridden a long, long way to get down, and they're in a campsite and they are soaked and freezing for the weekend. So I hope it's okay. I hope it stays dry.
Yeah, the wind is the issue, but we'll wait and see. I mean, it's now tonight we are going to pick your brain.
Oh, go on,
Mr. Emmett, because
what do you need to know?
Well, there's lots of topics this year. There's Marquez domination. There's
Jorge Martin.
There's Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what the heck's going on there?
And we were at Buriram for the first round, and that was one of our first international races, and we just couldn't. We couldn't expect what we've seen. Like, we couldn't predict the Jorge Martin situation, the Pecco Bagnaia situation. We couldn't predict. We all me and Tom both tipped Marquez win the championship, but the way he won it was I
think that's the one thing that most experts or most people within the sport, there every week said Marc's going to win this year. I think that without fail, everyone felt that with the switch to the factory team for this season, everyone just felt it was just the match made in heaven. It was going to happen. The domination factor, though, that's what no one had in mind. And what you were saying there about Bagnaia, you expected more of a fight coming from Pecco. Obviously, Jorge, you can't legislate for injuries. You can't legislate for those kinds of things that they happen. It looks like the Aprilias, at least with Bezz now, is going in the right direction. But I think, I'll ask you boys a question. Have you enjoyed this year?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed the season?
loved it. And
because I've heard a few people say, we get messages all the time, and there's people who say, "Oh, Marc's one boring," and I think it's been anything but a boring season. Amazing. I think there's been so much to talk about.
There's been so much to talk about, and I think, look, I've always been a Marquez fan. Ever since he's been in the 125s, I've always been a Marquez fan. I've loved how he's gone about it. I've been a Rossi fan, but I love both, and I love how aggressive he is. But Marc Marquez is the show, and when Marc Marquez is not racing, there's not much of a show compared to when it is. And when he's racing, there's always something. You can't. And this year, I almost can't pinpoint it, but there is just something special about it. And some people don't want to hear that, and that's fine. But there is something there that just thinks there's either something big's going to happen, something's going to crash, or you're watching the best that's ever done it.
Yeah, well, there's a personality thing that a lot of people don't like, Marc, and that's fine. You're completely entitled to like you like, but there's no doubt he is, for entertainment factor, he's always in the thick of it. There is always something going on wherever he is concerned. There is always something to talk about. And we said that even at the start of the year. When he's dominating, that's a story, because you weren't necessarily expecting him to dominate so much. But then he crashes out at his favourite racetrack in Austin, for example. You know, and these sorts of things surround him. And it was the same with Valentino Rossi. The big stars, the big names, the story surrounds them. And that's why they are so popular. And that's why they're such an integral, important part of the championship. It's such a shame that you're not going to get to see him here this weekend. I do feel like if he'd have come here, he'd have put on a show.
Oh, good, 100%. And we were out in town before, and you know, there's still a lot of Marquez fans around. There's a lot of Bezzecchi fans around, which is a topic for later. But yeah, it's sad. It was sort of, we're waiting for it to happen. I don't know. It was all year. Was waiting for it to happen, something like this, and it's happened. But for me, it's been the biggest comeback story from a motorsport point of view ever. Well, Mick Doohan's probably the close second.
I think Mick's right up there. Yeah. Obviously, everything that he went through, but obviously it's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a comeback, because Mick promised so much, you know, and that season it was looking like it's going to go Mick's way, and 92 happened, but then the comeback then was to become the great hero that he was. But I just think with Marc, there's been so much success previous. There's been the depth that you go to, and it's that high to the low, back up to the high again. That for me take it to that extra level. I think it's phenomenal. The story this year has just been incredible, and it's one that I hope. Obviously, we've had the change in the ownership of the sport. Some people already want to be negative, and I am in no way. I've heard it already said that we're shilling for liberty or something like that. It's like, what? We have no, our interest in the sport being successful and for more people to watch it. And if that's what's going to happen, then that's what's going to happen. And I think people have seen Formula One and they see it as a lowest common denominator, or going after easy clicks and that sort of thing. MotoGP doesn't need to do that. MotoGP has the racing. MotoGP has the people being knocked off at 120 miles an hour, whatever it was, 180 kilometres an hour around turn 7 in Indonesia, and breaking the shoulder a week after winning the championship, and it has the people on the podium here last year and out this year, for example. You don't get that sort of thing in Formula One. So I don't think Liberty need to manufacture. I want them to have more eyes on the sport, because more people need to know the story of Marc Marquez, and Marc Marquez's story this year is the sort of thing that will bring in the casual viewer. I've told my mates about it who aren't that into bikes, and they sort of can't believe it. They're big football fans.
Well, it's a great point. It's a great point you make, and like I met my new missus a year, 6 months ago.
Is this a Castlemaine advert? I didn't know they still made that stuff.
If you want to buy Trojan condoms. But what I want to get to the point is... He's a
kind of womanizer, as you can tell.
There's a song about that.
It's there is Lola, hello. Anyway,
womanizer.
Anyway,
get to the point.
She would watch me watch MotoGP, and obviously I'd be doing stuff for Republica and everything. And I didn't push her, and I mean I did not push her at all to watch any of it or to follow any rider. And the one person, guess which one person she gravitated to?
MM.
Marc Marquez. It's just this.
So my partner the same. She's the same. She's not a big bike fan, but her dad liked bike. But it's like she'll watch it and she loves the Marc story. My daughter is 4 years old. She loves Marc Marquez. We'll walk around the park. She's on a balance bike and she will pretend to be Marc Marquez. I have to be Alex Marc Marquez. That's what she calls that.
Alex Marc Marquez.
Alex Marc Marquez. And she has to win. But she's 4. But there's something. There is something.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And if it brings in a 4-year-old girl, or you know what I mean, if it brings in the kids, if it brings in the future, if it can do that because it's a special story, then I'm all for it. I'm not going to be one of these. I am. You guys, you've been coming here since 2003. I've been working in the sport for 25 years. I'm not going to gatekeep it. For me, the more people who watch it, the better. I don't think it's just for the niche, just for the hardcore. Yeah, have the hardcore, have the people who are into it, but let's bring in some youth.
Yeah.
Let's get, because I know the demographic of people in the UK is 40, 50 and above.
Same as Australia.
Yeah.
And it will be. It'll be same in the US. Let's get the kids in.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's bring a new batch. Otherwise, we're all going to die off and no one's going to support
We
sport
say
anymore.
that we say that every year, and we talk to the Oz GP Commission because, if anything, Tom and I are the outlier. Like if we go into the Phillip Island Grand Prix, it is, and it's fine. Like there's a place for the older guys to drink Jack Daniels and sit on the camp chair and watch MotoGP. That's fine, but they're all gonna not be able to come one day. Where you need the younger guys to come in, which is like your Marc Marquez fans or your Bastianini fans or your Bezzecchi fans. But you also need to then, for Phillip Island or Australia, maybe even Silverstone or something, have something that tailors MotoGP to the younger crowd, whether that be a big DJ thing, Red Bull DJ, I don't know, whatever works, but they need to, that's exactly what they need to do, and that's, I'm sure, what Liberty Media wants to do. Yeah,
it'll turn off some people at the other end of the scale, maybe, but I'm sure they're coming for the racing anyway. So let's just make it an open church. That's what
we always talk about this. It's like, I'd love to get your take on this. Coming to Australia, coming to the event, who does it well overseas? Jerez. You know, Bruno looked amazing this year as well.
Le Mans looked amazing.
Like Le Mans the best, as in atmosphere. But that's happened. That wasn't like that. I'm telling you, there were races before Fabio Quartararo and Johann Zarco. So we're talking 15 years ago, where there were the same amount of people getting here at Phillip Island, and it was,
which is the Rossi days.
But it was sort of like that sort of in between period, you know. And I remember, you know, before Rossi got huge. Well, you weren't getting huge crowds there, but they've created an event and they've created a festival atmosphere.
Yeah.
But that comes off the back of success. Yeah. It comes off the back of success, and it's simple as that. I say it constantly all the time. You need your heroes. You need your local heroes. But your Jerez, you've got it. Now, Czech Republic is a bit of an outlier, and in fact, the Sachsenring as well. They haven't had much German success, but there you're coming from. That's old Eastern Bloc, as you'd call it, the old communist bloc. I know it's no longer like that, but it was so ingrained in the fabric of society where people were taken as kids, you know, because it was the only international world championship sport that was coming to your part of the world. So it's ingrained in you. But apart from that, it's finding some local heroes. Look at us in the USA, for example. We've got a beautiful racetrack in Kota, not the greatest for motorcycle racing, but there's hardly anyone there, really, for MotoGP. When you look at Formula One, who'll be there this weekend, wow.
Yeah, it's the third biggest crowd in the whole year.
Yeah,
Kota.
and you look at it, and I remember watching it. We flew to Malaysia last year. It might have been from here. Anyway, I can't remember where we went from, maybe Japan. And I remember looking at the crowd, I was watching it on TV, and I was like, wow, look at that. Look at the circuit in America as compared to when we go. But if we had an American, it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
If it's
the same as here. I mean, when Casey was having success in 07 and whatever it was.
40,000 more.
It was 120,000 people we had for the weekend, where it is about 80 now.
National hero.
Yeah.
And that's what you need.
It happens.
It crosses over into the mainstream.
Yeah.
And more people will turn up. And so, but obviously, trying to get that, we've got 22 races now. I know 4 in Spain and 2 in Italy or what have you. But yeah, trying to create the at least some sort of local hero, some sort of local flavour in the championship is an important part of it.
How important is it for Jack Miller to stay in this category? Do you think there's a push from Dorna to keep him in there?
Yeah, I do, and I think I'm all for it. I'm obviously a big mates with Jack. I love Jack. I think but I also think personality is an important part of this sport as well. And for me, he is the best personality, or the most engaging personality. Particularly for an Anglo-Saxon audience. We have 2 English-speaking riders.
Yeah.
Him and Brad Binder.
Yeah.
And Brad's quite a reserved character in terms of he's a really good guy and he's a funny guy and he's a top lad and an amazing racer as well. Like on the track, he's an absolute animal, Brad. Yeah. Whereas Jack's got the off-track persona as well, where he loves it. He just absolutely loves it, and he thrives on that. But if we were to have lost Jack this year, Top Rack is another one who will bring a wider audience in. But then you're talking one Anglo-Saxon rider. I said that English-speaking rider. In that term. And when we are trying to grow this sport, we all know that the effect is you've got to have it working. One in Asia, and that was where the Chandra thing. To be honest, I was all for it, and it hasn't worked. But it's fine. But I think it was the right thing to do. I'm not going to argue against it. I think it's important. That's another important market, the Asian market. When we get an Indonesian, just you wait. When I'm sure Veda Pratama's a kid in rookies, and there's a couple of kids that I think if they can get there, that will push this sport onto another level. But the other market is the States, because a lot of people follow what happens in the US, and if you can get it to get big, you're going to need these personalities that people can connect with.
Well, it's interesting,
100%.
like Diego Moreira, like Brazil, first Brazilian round next year. Like it's not a coincidence. Like it's happened. It's fabricated, I suppose. But
and he's quick though.
He's very quick.
I'd say with Diogo, the beauty of Diogo is he has got so much talent. I was chatting with Lucio Cecchinello in the airport this morning. He was on the same flight as me, and obviously he was telling me how long it's taken for them to get it across the line.
It has taken a long time.
All the T's and the I's crossing and dotting and trying to get it done, because with the Japanese that's what it's like. But he says it's really important, but it isn't about the passport. It's everyone you speak to about Diogo is, boy, this kid's got talent. Everyone I've spoken to who's trained with him, done anything with him off track, off-road, he is incredible. He is world championship level. I mean, he went to a round of the World Supermoto Championship and won one round. Wow. Age 17.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was a weekend in between Grand Prix racing. It was like a week after Aragon. Or I can't remember, a couple of years ago. And he went and he did a round of the World Supermoto Championship and he won it.
God, that's amazing.
That's the sort of level that you're talking about. And they've been talking about him since he's been a kid. His dad was a Brazilian motocross champion. He's got great off-road skills. So this is kind of innate talent. He's only been road racing since he got to the rookies, basically.
Yeah, right.
So since he's about 14. So you're talking about someone there who's you're at the start of their curve. Start of that upward curve.
Yeah, I've got two questions for you out of that. I need to put these in.
Go on.
First one is Idemitsu sponsoring that team next year?
I don't know. I was trying to get that out of Lucio.
We're trying to get out of here.
I was trying to squeeze him.
Hierarchy.
I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but they are a Honda sponsor.
Yeah.
But they are very much Asian market, and that's why they do the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah.
And they do with the Honda Team Asia in Moto2 and Moto3. So I would doubt it. I also think it does open avenues for Brazilian sponsor. Lucio is the master of manipulating sponsors. So if you remember in the past, he used to switch sponsors from one race to the next.
Yes.
He did it with Cal. He'd had Givi one week, he'd have Castrol another week, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A bit like Boscoscaro does in Moto2 with the different colours of bikes. So he used to do that. I could see a Brazilian sponsor coming in. I don't know whether Brazilian Honda will have some things put in the pot as well. I'm sure they will.
What a mix.
It's such an important market. And that is actually for Liberty. South America, with David Alonso, what he's doing coming through. With Perrone, what he's done this year. With Moreira, it's suddenly you're like, okay, we've got a huge motorcycle market. Like the crowds we've had at Termas, when I try and tell you what Termas is like, Termas would be the equivalent of having a race in Alice Springs.
Yeah, wow.
Something like that.
Where
talk about remoteness.
Yeah, it's
Cougar PD, somewhere. One of these.
That makes sense.
You told us that last year. You go, it's not an interest. Like it's the middle of nowhere.
Okay, it's a 12-hour drive or more from Buenos Aires, and or more. 12, 13 hours. You guys are used to those sorts of distances here in Oz. So, but you can imagine what that means. Where we're talking about, but they'd sell it out.
Yeah,
they would fill it. So, and they would come from. You'd see bikes from Peru, from Colombia, from Brazil, and they'd come from all over, and that's got to be good, hasn't it? That's a
100%.
great market.
Such a big market, yeah.
So the one in Guyana, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, they all get the track up to specs. I don't know if you saw the look of it when they all went and did it. It looked like it needed it. I have spoken to people. I've spoken to people who've been there since. I've talked to people there, and there's been a lot of transformation going on. So fingers crossed.
They need to. They definitely need to.
Yeah.
Another question I have, or not a question, but we've had a lot of messages, and people are drawing parallels. And I like this. I thought this was crazy when I first heard it, and we talked about this on Patreon. There's a lot of parallels between Diego Moreira, and I know this is crazy, and Casey Stoner. Signing this young kid into an LCR Honda. Now, Casey famously went to 250s, then went to 125s, went to 250s, never won a world title. Went up against Danny Pedrosa, possibly a Jorge Lorenzo, maybe if my memory is correct, but never won a world title, and then went into MotoGP and was amazing. I can kind of see, it's so crazy to say, but I can kind of see parallels. I can draw parallels to what Diego Moreira is doing right now. I really can, because we always talk about this, from Moto3 to Moto2 is a huge jump, massive jump. You look at you look at so many riders that go to Moto2 and they just fast. And they can't do it. And Diego Moreira has been quick.
Yep, from the off. Rookie of the year last year.
Yep.
Won races. I fancy him for the title now.
Yeah.
It's just momentum at the moment. You feel like, we keep saying this in Moto2, that Manuel Gonzalez should have wrapped up this title weeks ago. He's the fastest rider, most consistent rider. Things are not going their way. And the disqualification.
I know.
You're thinking, it really isn't going their way.
No.
You know, it really is going to be...
it's 9 points. 9 points. That's it.
That is nothing. And the momentum's with Moreira. And suddenly he'll be riding tight. Suddenly he's thinking, all right, I need to perform here. And you can make a mistake so easily around this place. So easily in Sepang. There can be weather as well. So, yeah, that one's getting tight. But I like what you're saying. I do see what you're saying as well. And Lucho, look... Not saying he's got an eye for it, but almost because he was almost forced. This is what you're getting, pretty much. Yeah. But Honda did the deal with Jack, if you remember.
Similar
sort of thing.
Straight from
Moto3 on that occasion. But they see someone with natural talent, and that's it. And this is why Yamaha were after him as well. Like, it wasn't a cut and dried thing that he was going to go to Honda. So you had two manufacturers battling for this kid. When you've got someone else running away with the championship, you know that they've seen something.
Yeah.
You know that they have, they've got something there. I think there's a bit of a rough diamond, and because of what I was saying before with the off-road experience, will only get better the more power you put in his hand. That's what I feel like.
It's true, and Honda's only coming. Like, the improvement out of Honda for this season, like when we were in Burdiam at the start of the year to where we are now, like, it is chalk and cheese, and it's chalk and cheese from a year ago.
Yeah, Honda will get there.
They got a blank checkbook to...
They didn't dominate this sport for years and years by accident. You know, it wasn't, when it was, whether it was Mick's era or, through the years, they have dominated with Valentino. After that, they'll
be back at the top soon. Yeah.
They will be there. They are the biggest motorcycle, manufacturer. And so they will get back there, but they've been caught napping.
Yeah. Haven't they ever?
And COVID was part of it.
Yeah.
Yamaha have also been caught out, and they've both changed philosophies, changed cultures. They're going to get there, but I'm all for it because they're coming up against the Ducati that's found a way of working things. The ride height device thing's then going to be interesting because that's suddenly, we saw a little bit of it actually in Mandalika. It's not a track you can use your ride height device compared to Motegi, where Pecco Bagnaia had the bike working perfectly for him there, and you come to a track in Mandalika where you use it once, maybe twice if you're sort of risking it out towards that turn 10, and so. With that nullified and the conditions, everything, the heat treated tyre, you take away some of Ducati's little advantages there. Suddenly, the whole pack's together. Suddenly, KTM's and Aprilias and Hondas are all in the mix. And you're thinking, here we go. This is
so wide open, wasn't it?
So good for all of us.
Yeah. Just on that with Pecco, I mean, you've been around the sport 25 years, as you said, probably even more than that. Have you ever seen someone dominate a weekend like Motegi and then finish last and throw the bike down?
No.
It's. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Not in any motorsport.
No. It is unheard of, and it must be really frustrating. But there is, if you look at the races that have gone well for him this year or gone better, it's been the ones with whether the larger brake disc places like your Austrias and that kind of thing. Start of the year Thailand. These sorts of places. It sort of when the hard braking areas tracks have worked for him, even though it's weird because that's the area of the
for front end feel.
Exactly.
It does make sense.
But it's almost like there's a phase in the corner, maybe in other racetracks, where it costs you more time. And the up and down circuits, that's where it's actually worked for him. And so you go back to the other places and suddenly it's all bets are off. Heat treated tyre last time as well. That was a big part of it. But you're right. Apart from, I just think about people who didn't really make the best defence of their titles.
Jorge Martin.
That's a different story altogether. But you think.
But it's amazing. I've never seen. It's unprecedented. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
Like in MotoGP, yes, there's been some over time. We've seen guys win the world championship and their teammates finishing last, like Casey Stoner back in the day on the Ducati. But for me, it's been such a bloody seesaw, isn't it? Like, it's incredible. Yeah,
it's been a funny one this year, but it all was at the start of the year. And let's not forget, they both, Pecco Bagnaia developed this bike, but him and Marc together decided we can't go with the engine they provided with us. We're going with a halfway house, and then it feels like that halfway house has left them in a little bit of limbo. And Marc's ridden around the problems, and for Pecco it hasn't worked, but. They talked about the jump, didn't they, from the 22 to the 23, and then the 23 to the 24, and the 23 wasn't necessarily an easy bike to get on with. So you get all these little increments, these little steps. Newer is not always better.
Correct.
And they have so little testing time from one season to the next, which is why it's going to be interesting to see what Marc Marquez does now with his injury. Because in theory, this is a sort of injury now after surgery where he should sit out the rest of the year. Yeah. And if he listens to himself, like his advice to Jorge Martin, don't rush yourself back. But he'll also know, well, Valencia's the only time I get to try the bike before next year. And if I don't try the bike, then Pecco is going to be trying the bike and things are going to be going down the other line.
That's a good point. These
sorts of things. So, I can't believe he'd want to go into the Valencia weekend Valencia test cold. So I sort of think, well, he's going to have to go to the Valencia round because you to make that test count. You need to sort of ride the weekend. You need to know you're up to speed. You need to be, at the races. Maybe you do practice and you don't do the races. I don't know, but you're going to want to be up to speed. Check that you're fit enough.
Great point. And I think we kind of spoke about it. He's either going to come back in Portugal, but I can see him coming back in Valencia easy for a similar reason.
That's it. I could before the operation, I was saying Portugal myself, but now post-operation, I could see him turning a wheel in Valencia and then maybe testing. But if he listens to his own advice, he'd sit out the rest of the year. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what he decides.
The man's just too much of a competitor, though.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to sit out. But he knows he's had 4 years in the wilderness because of trying to come back too early, because of doing one-arm press-ups in medical centres, trying to get himself fit. So.
And he said that in the media how many times. He's gone, I came back too early. That was the first thing he said.
And he's been saying it to Jorge Martin this year. He's been saying it to his brother when he's got injured. Don't rush yourself back. That's the one thing I've learned. Don't rush yourself back. So it is going to be interesting to see whether he takes his medicine
that's a good point.
And takes his own advice, or whether he sort of thinks, well, I have to.
Yeah, well, they were saying if Alex didn't crash in Brno, where he crashed and took Mir out, or Marini, which one? Mir it was. The championship still would have been on, injured. How crazy would that have been? It would have changed the whole thing. It would have been backflipped,
Well, that's right.
But he'd be back. I reckon if that happened, would he be back this weekend?
Well, Jorge Lorenzo famously crashed at Assen, broke his collarbone, flew to Spain, came back, and then got like 5th or 6th or whatever it was. Amazing ride. So they can do it.
But that was very much a broken collarbone, plate it, and actually you speak to motor riders and they will say, plate that collarbone, and it actually feels strong. It's actually strong.
Yeah, they do say
it's
that.
Fine.
Yeah.
Agony.
Yeah.
I am not belittling or anything like that, but it's one of those things you can do. This, unfortunately, because it wasn't the collarbone, it was underneath the coracoid process. It's got ligament damage in there. Your shoulder. Look at, and actually, you look. It's not the outside. You're not your rotator cuff, your labrum, these kind of places around here. That's a career ender. That's Ben Spees, Neil Hodgson, who I work with. That's the sort of thing that's happened. It's where Maverick is at the moment. With the damage on the outside.
Hard to come back from.
You just don't want to rush it. That's why we've been saying for weeks, Maverick should just be sat at home.
Yeah.
Don't even try and force it. Whereas Mark's is on the inside of the joint.
Gotcha.
So it's where your shoulder blade and collarbone sort of meet and join up with all those ligaments on the inside. So in theory, it should be better, but it's not as simple as shoving a plate on and being able to ride. So, it's going to be that's the nice little story that we've got to going on in the background. But
it's interesting. We've got like our fans of the pod and stuff, they're really 50-50 of, wow, it's great without Marquez because we can, it's going to be such a surprise result. I mean, I think Furman's going to be up there. Acosta will be up there. Bezz, is he going to get a double long lap? I mean, I think
he has to.
Yeah.
If Marc Marquez gets a long lap, for something I didn't think it was that bad on Alex Rins and in the other day on the first lap of the sprint, I don't think it was.
But talk about Neil. He came out with a piece last week and he said that it was a racing incident. So
absolutely. But it's a racing incident, but it's still a mistake.
Correct. Yeah.
It's when he did, and I agree with him. There was a little slide as well.
Yeah.
But you still made a mistake. You still knocked someone off and caused a crash, and an
injury. I think
and it's in the rules. Well, the injuries by of it. The rules basically say, and we've had lots of chats with Simon Crafar, who, by the way, I think's done an excellent job this year.
Yeah,
not easy. We've not agreed 100% with everything, and that's normal. You don't agree with the referee 100% of the time. But he's been really open in his dialogue with people this year, with us in the media in particular. I know he speaks to Matt Burt and Lewis and speaks with that crew, speaks with us as well. I know he speaks to the other TV people and journalists and explains. And what he basically says now is what they've been working towards is, with the legal team essentially in the stewards room, is essentially having sort of definitions. You cause a crash in a race, this is your penalty. You take a rider out, a bit like the Marc Marquez one, but don't cause a crash. Okay, it's one long lap penalty. And if it's deemed to be one of those things, if it's a racing incident, let them race. That's another important part of it. Think back to Bastianini and Martin last year, which is where I saw the Mark and Alex Rins one. But hey, that's one of those that, it's a fine line between them. But on this one, I think it'll be a double long lap, but there will be at least one long lap anyway. Is that the end of the race for Bezz? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I don't think it is. That's Marc Marquez spinning up on a tear off.
Yeah. We spoke about this last week. It's
the Aprilia should work around fast racetrack like this. It should. I know they've been changing it a little bit. I know the bike's starting to work in more stop-starty places. They are changing how that front end feels. But showing how things were going in Mandalika, I've got a feeling it should be working for Bezz. My query is around his injury, with if he's going to be all right, because he got a ring on the bell. I've seen some footage where it looked like he was out cold. Now they say he's okay, then he'll be fine. But how is he going to be feeling?
Concussion's always a funny one. We play AFL here, as you would know. And if you get concussed, it's automatic 2 weeks you're out.
Well, rugby's the same, isn't it?
2 weeks you're out.
They're hotter on it in rugby union than anything.
Yeah. Well, they've got such a big controversy now, isn't it?
Well, there's lawsuits waiting to happen left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
The thing you've got in those sports is repetitive.
Yeah.
Like every hit.
Yeah.
Every tackle that you make is a and you have had a lot in the UK of motor neurone disease, with Rob Burrow and Dottie Weir and people like that. And
we've got the same thing here.
And that's a big thing in those. But it's called what is it? The encephalopathy. I can't remember. Repetitive, basically. That it keeps happening.
And you only find out after. Obviously you pass away and they check the brain. That's when you find out what the damage is caused
and how bad it is.
And then old footballers, soccer players in the UK, England players. Jeff Hassel was a famous one who dementia in later life, and they reckon it's to do with repeated heading of a heavy ball. Now motorcycle racing, you might get concussed, but it's not like every time you go out on the field you're concussed. Whereas at rugby, every hit you get, or football, every time you're heading a ball, you're getting a rap on the head. Whereas I think on the bike, I think that's a different part of it. But I know they do take it seriously. They'll have done all the tests, and so hopefully that he's okay.
Bezz is an interesting one though, because he's really turned it around, and we like to thank ourselves, I guess, on this podcast, because we do our famous...
I reckon you were responsible.
we do say this.
I think you're right.
We do say this. We do our famous power rankings every weekend on how all the riders go, and he was in Fraud Watch for 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds at least. And Bezz has just turned it around, and it's amazing. It's great to watch. We love to watch it, but it is just amazing how... And I've said it. I was an early adopter in this, where it's like Jorge Martin was out, and then Aprilia's he had to do all of Aprilia's heavy lifting, and he had to be like, all right, I'm going to take this team and I'm going to develop it around me. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting and I'm going to make this bike work, and he did it. And I think that is almost understated in MotoGP and MotoGP fans at the moment, because he's done an amazing job. Amazing job to turn it around. Yeah,
he's done a fantastic job this year. Aprilia have. You've got to give them credit. But the reason they chose Martin and Bezzecchi to replace Aleix, who'd been there for years, and to replace Maverick, is because they came off the Ducati. They've come off the best bike, right? They've come off the bike that's won the championship for the last 4 years, okay? So they're bringing their knowledge, and the bike is becoming more like a Ducati because of their input. The front wasn't as stable. It didn't feel right in the hard braking zone. They didn't have that... that pitch that they wanted. They didn't, great fast stability in fast corners, but when we're getting down to these hard braking areas, it didn't feel the front, and that bike is transforming. That's why you take these people on. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for Jorge Martin, but you feel like they're going to be able to take that to another level. Can it keep going? Is the next That's the next step. That's the next question mark, whether that can continue like that. But we're in a situation where the concessions are working.
Yeah, they're working really
They
well.
are bringing everyone up to the level of the Ducatis.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for the sport. That's what we want everyone to be getting there. We want Honda and Yamaha to be coming back into it. We want, these other manufacturers to be there to challenging, so that all the manufacturers have a shot of winning every week.
Now, concessions, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks. Concessions for me has probably been the biggest thing for MotoGP in the last couple of years.
Well, it all started with CRTs,
Yes,
and open bikes.
Oh, that sends a shiver down my spine, CRT. Ooh.
Exactly, but I remember speaking to people at the time, and I was like, no, it's long game.
Yeah.
This is long game.
Long
This
game.
is politics. This is Dorna playing politics, and that's why the ride-height devices are still there, because it's all politics. You just have to look at the long game, and if they got rid of the ride-height devices yesterday, or they did it last year. Does that keep Ducati interested? Does that keep them happy when that's their...
Well, they developed it.
They developed it. They were the forefront of it. They were the ones who... And that was their secret weapon. Do you put them... Do you take that hand they've got, do you put it behind the backs? Or do you... Oh, okay, let's just see if we can keep that, and then we help the others in other ways. And I have to say... I think they've done a good job in that.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to argue with it when you see where we were with grids of, and I'm sure there was a race here, 13, 14 bikes.
Yes, we were watching it today at the pub. It was 14 bikes back in
11, 12, 12 maybe?
Yeah, 2011, I reckon.
No, it was 2010 we watched. It was 14 bikes, and Simoncelli podiumed, and then... No, it was 2011.
2011, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember I was at the start grid on top of the pits.
Yes.
Maybe I was with you, and we were watching it. And even as a 16-year-old at that stage, 17-year-old,
It was like four or five rows. Like
it was empty.
Yeah.
Empty.
So it's all been from there. It's like, right, okay, well, what can we do here? Well, the factories have all the power. So let's take a little bit of power and say, well, we just build production bikes and we'll pass them. And then factories go, oh, okay, we don't really like this because this is making production bikes look as though, okay, well, maybe we can help out. Maybe we can. And so it's all politics. And then we get to the day, okay, the factories are they dominating anymore when independent team won the championship last year?
Yeah.
It all is part of a long game that I know people don't see these things in the short term and hate rules or hate these sort of things. I agree. I'm one of those. I'm a fan ultimately, but you can't just any sport at this level to compete at the level with with Formula One, with the biggest sports in the world, with the Premier League football, with whatever. You need to be flexible and you need to be political animals as well.
And when they've come from that point in time to where they are now.
Yeah.
Like we watched the racing back then. We watched 2010 today, or 2011 it was. The racing is so much better now.
Yeah, I watched
it's so much better now.
2004,
Yeah.
Rossi Gibernau when Valentino won.
Yeah.
And he won the championship. He won the championship for Yamaha. And I was going, oh my god, one, they look slow. Which I can't believe I'm saying.
Well, Moto2 bikes are faster now. It means wild, isn't it?
Around here, they will be 100% faster.
Yeah. It's wild.
And you just think of that, and you're like,
that's crazy.
What? Well, and Valentino was doing incredible things around that time. And you think back and actually you look and you're like, there was the odd race, and actually 2001 is one I remember for here, for example. But there were some fantastic races in and amongst, but I feel like we get them more often. That we do get brilliant races.
100%. And it's not like, we talk about this as well, is it's not about speed or lap records. And Moto3 is a perfect example for this. It's the best, I still think it's the best pure racing in the world. You put anything up against Moto3 at Mugello or Phillip Island, there's no better racing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's about lap records. They can slow MotoGP down fine. As long as the racing's good and it's competitive and there's, quite a few manufacturers going for a title, that's all you need. It's really all you need. It doesn't matter if they're 3 seconds lap slower.
No. I don't think it matters at all. I don't think we've talked about this in the new rules, 850s coming up in years. Do you really spot the difference between 227 miles an hour, 360 down the front straight in Mugello, and between it, 200 miles an hour?
Yeah.
I can't.
No way.
No.
I can't tell the difference really. That's negligible.
It's the same thing as Formula One. Like they're 10 seconds a lap slower now, but they look faster back in 2004 when Schumacher was spinning around. So It's all, it's the racing. It is the racing, and that's the end of the day.
And we would not be going to places like Mugello or some of the other tracks that we go to if we kept these bikes going as they are now with ride height devices and 1000cc and all that. So the fuel will come in, that will reduce things. The tyres, Pirelli will change the game as well.
True.
Yeah, I think in general, if you look at the global picture, I think they've done quite well with rules.
Oh no, they've done amazing. And what you said before, like, when you see them, going down the straight at 20 miles an hour less, I mean, it does make a difference.
I don't think so.
Nah. And then Moto2 for me is probably being in the category this year as well. Like, Moto2's been amazing. 10
different winners.
I know. It's incredible. And then when you look at, we read our results out every week, and we read our top 10. I go, fuck, from 11 till 20. Fuck, there's the names: Tony Arbolino, Jake Dixon. I mean, I'm like, these guys are stars of the sport, and they're finishing between 11th and 20th every weekend.
Riders who are close to being in MotoGP.
100%.
It is a bear pit of a class.
I know.
It's shocking. It's almost a hard watch sometimes because you're like, they're almost there. Juan Masia. He won a Moto3 title only a few years ago, and now he's in World Supersport.
Yeah.
Sergio Garcia.
Sergio Garcia was the man at one point.
No, and now he's in World Supersport, which... Is he in World Supersport?
He'll be in Moto2 next year. He's coming back next year.
He's coming back, okay.
Yeah.
But still, to be dropped out of a team is just wild.
And I think that was partly him as well.
Yeah,
knowing
for sure.
that he needed to step away and sort himself out. But Moto2 is... And that's why we're seeing now Jake Dixon will go over to World Superbikes.
Yep.
And I think that's where they have to look. I think there's been this tendency, obviously, Bulaga didn't make it as a Moto2 rider.
Dominating.
He didn't cut it.
Yeah.
So then went over to World Supersport, had success, gone up.
And winning.
Locatelli's done the same.
Yeah.
A lot of riders have gone through World Supersport, and it's like, let's cut out the World Supersport ladder, and let's bring these guys straight into World Superbike. We'll see how it goes. But look at Sam Lowes is there, isn't he? Pretty much already, inside the mix. So I think that will happen a lot more now.
Yeah.
But you're going to see people, because there's such a wealth of talent in Moto2 and all of them cannot make MotoGP.
Well, that's right.
Like Aaron Canet is not going to get to MotoGP, in my opinion.
No, I agree. But that's the harsh reality, though, is if you step away from the Grand Prix paddock into World Supersport or World Superbikes, can you realistically get into MotoGP?
No. Although Nicolo Bulaga, there's talk he might get a testing role. I don't see it.
Huertas is an interesting one. He dominated Supersport. Come to Moto2. Has he had a podium yet? No. Top 5? No.
Yeah, I think he's had
the class is just so much.
But I think you have to give him a second year.
Yeah. I agree.
Something like that, because
he's got talent. That
and
kid.
He's come the other way around. But so do the other 20 in front. There was something I saw. Bradley Smith did. The Pipe Dreams podcast the other day.
Yes.
If you saw it, he talked about. He said the top 200 riders in the world across them. You think of all the championships across, probably not that far away. There will be the odd exception to your rule, your Marc Marquez and whatever. But a lot of it is right time, right place.
Yeah.
And people getting the rides at the right time. There is a lot of luck involved in racing still, and the talent levels are so high.
Yeah, and with the modern day electronics as well. I mean, you've just gunned it out of a corner. Is that the skill's still there, but it's the margin's different. The margin's way smaller these days.
Absolutely, but I mean, I still believe the elite are in MotoGP.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to have to adjust that, because 10 Spanish riders or whatever it is and 6 Italians doesn't look great for the rest of the world, does it?
No.
When I speak to people at home, they'll say, it's Spanish Italian championship.
Well, you say that as Moto3, but Moto3's been dominated.
But that doesn't surprise me, because the Spanish back their riders in the junior classes.
Because they've got such a strong youth system, that's why. They've got such a strong championship, which is... Whereas here in Oz, it'll be focused around Superbike in the UK, BSB Superbike.
There's no focus in Australia, to a degree. But
my point is, in Spain, your premier class in your Spanish championship is Moto3.
That's
the one that gets the TV coverage. That's because they know they've got their Marc Marquez of the future. And look at Rueda, Olgado, and the people who've come through in recent years winning that championship. Piqueras. They're the ones now doing the do.
Holgado's been the surprise for me this year.
Been super.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I think the Pirelli thing's a big assistance.
Yeah.
I think the step from the Moto 3 to Moto 2 with the Dunlops are very, very finicky, fine tyre, which you had to find your way around. And some people still haven't quite, like Tony Arbolino, it's not worked for him. Going to Pirelli.
Yeah.
So is he any lesser of a rider?
Yeah.
I don't know. This has always been the case, though, of certain riders not getting on with certain tyres.
Because we spoke to
Jorge Martinez
in Buriam, and we said, David Alonso. He goes, wait for Holgado. He's going to be the boy. And then, he has. He has been. So.
It's like Aspar knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. So strange. Successful team winning championships left, right, and centre for 30 years or whatever. It's like he knows what. It's so strange.
It's very interesting. How do you find the whole Jorge Martin? Because obviously, in being in the media, it's like the media wet dream. All this that's happening, Le Mans, he wants to go to Honda. Honda's offering him things and not offering him things, but it's just it's been a very interesting situation on how it's been handled by Jorge himself, by Aprilia, by Honda, by the media. It's just, no one's kind of saw it coming. And obviously it's injuries. We understand that. It's MotoGP, it's motorcycle racing, it's dangerous, but it has been a big backflip.
I sort of got it. I got it at the time. The Aprilia wasn't having any results. He's sat at home. He's in pain. He's like, feeling it, like this injury could have cost me my life here, never mind anything else. I can get a payday at Honda. Honda look like they're investing a lot. I can get a payday that will set me up for my life. I haven't given Aprilia a run at things, but my contract says this. And so, my manager says, look, if you want that Honda deal, I can probably get it because your contract is like this. Aprilia have toughed things out, and fair play to them. They've played a blinder. There's no doubt about it that they've done the. I have to say, I think that Dorna have helped them in that. I think Carmelo basically saying we will not register you.
He wouldn't let him go. That's from the reports.
Essentially saying we will not register you if you do this.
If you're a registered rider,
that kiboshed it.
Yeah.
I think that sort of did it right there. I'd love to have seen it tested in court.
Yeah,
because I think it would have gone that far. And
and then that week, Bezz goes out and wins the race. That's the most amazing thing.
Things like that have happened this year. Like Marc Marquez gets injured the week after winning the championship. It's just been one of those. Jorge Martin at the start of the season misses it because he gets injured when he comes back from injury then. And it's like, oh my God, this is just wild. Just weird.
MotoGP is weird.
Weird year. But great, as you say, in the media. Great for us to get our teeth into, I could understand it. I always felt it from a rider's point of view. Your career as a rider is short. And it can be over like that. So I can completely get it from a rider's point of view, thinking, well, if I can have one payday from Honda, which is, and Aprilia will pay better than he was getting at Pramac, but won't be getting anywhere near what you get to be a Honda rider. And they probably pushed the boat out a little bit to get the world champion.
Well, Quartararo is a classic example. That took the big payday, and now does it sound like he's regretting it? Maybe in the media.
I think I like changing topics. I think Quartararo is going to almost go down the Marquez way of doing things.
Non-factory team.
If Yamaha's not up to it, and if he can't get a ride,
it depends what they're doing. Next year they are going to go V4, but as we keep saying in our commentary. Honda have had a V4 for the last few years and haven't won a championship or haven't hardly won any races, so I don't think it's a silver bullet, but it's a long game from them thinking when it goes 850 we have to be the same as everyone else, so why not develop something to be getting some kind of data back for that year, but it is not going to be a silver bullet. It's not
we've seen that, We've seen that with... And what are your thoughts on this with the V4? I mean, they missed out on they couldn't test the bike. They couldn't race the bike because they
homologate the aero.
And they sort of got on commentary and said, like, we're sort of a bit of a... We sort
they
of
admitted it.
Gearbox
we fucked that up sort of thing. I'm like, mind blown for that point of view, because I'm like, wouldn't you have this set in stone till the end of the year?
Yeah.
But 4 races left. Let's try the V4. Let's race a V4. Put Jack Miller on the V4, who's arguably one of the great testing people in the paddock. He's been in multiple manufacturers, and it's an oversight. I mean, for me, unforgettable.
Yeah, I think though at the start of the year, you're maybe not thinking we're not even going to be at the position where we can even bring it out this year. I think you're sort of thinking of it as a 27 project.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously all ramped forward and come forward as more and more pressure's being put on things. So, that's the limits you've got, though. They can change their engines, but there are other parts of the bike that can't be changed, So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but they've been able to put it out there with Augusto, and he's going to get another run on it before the end of the year.
Sepang, I think.
Yeah, Sepang is where he's going to go, and probably Valencia as well. So, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think they're going to. Yeah, they'll be getting more data coming back, more information, but there's still a lot of time. They can do as much testing as they want.
I understand where you're coming from. It's not the end of the world. Like, let's be honest, if they're not going to come in and win a race this year, they're not going to win a championship. There's no, it's not the end of the world. No. So
I understand that.
And they can test more.
Yeah, they can test more. But if you look at Honda compared to Yamaha, Honda's striving forward, where Yamaha is stagnant and just getting left behind by everyone else. And then that must be infuriating Fabio Quartararo, who I believe is the second best rider on that grid.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel like he is, he's in that conversation. He is. There's a few names that you'd say. I think Fabio's probably the lead one that comes behind Marc. And, Honda aren't trying to develop a completely different bike. They're not making an inline 4. They are... Yeah. Changing, and a lot of people have always said that Honda's got all the bits there. It's just they're not all fitting together right. And that look at Ducati, look at Pecco Bagnaia and what he's doing. You can have all the bits. You can have all the bits of the bike that wins a championship. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to all slot together.
You got a guy dominating, and then you got a guy finishing behind Chandra in a sprint. I mean, it's wild. They still are 1, 2, 3 in the championship. Yeah, true. True. Now we've had a few questions in from people at home.
All right. Okay.
The number one question asked, and we've talked about this a lot. What is the number one Grand Prix to go to in Europe, in your opinion?
Oh, I have to go through so many of them.
Nightlife, I'm talking destination, from people coming from Oz.
Coming all the way from Australia.
It's a 20-hour flight. Is it what's worth it? Because we think Jerez. That's James and I. Jerez next year.
Yeah, Jerez is fantastic. I would wholly recommend. I go for a few. I go for Jerez. Le Mans is a great experience for the weekend, and so much motorsport history.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's a big festival atmosphere that you will not sleep for a weekend. You won't sleep in Mugello for a weekend. That's starting to get back to where it was.
Yeah.
That is so pretty. That rivals Phillip Island for me.
Yeah, Tuscan, the Tuscan Valley.
It's just beautiful. When you turn up, you're like, you what? This is a race, and it is natural. It's not done on a computer or anything like that. Not that Jerez is, but Mugello's got more in terms of a racetrack.
We always said that about Phillip Island. It was built on the land, not on a laptop.
That's it.
And that's where these new tracks aren't the same.
Exactly.
Balaton Park may be an example of that.
Yeah. Awful.
Possibly an example of that. I'm just putting it out there.
Got a feeling like we'll be going back there one more time.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
It looks like Budapest. They might have something. But I'm another one. I would say the Czech Republic, Brno.
Yeah.
Now that's back on the calendar, I love it. I absolutely love it. And standing there, I went on race day morning on the Sunday, and I stood in the stadion, that section there, and it's all grass banks. There's a little grandstand, but it's all grass banks, and there is not a patch of grass.
Yeah.
And standing, I was in the Monster Energy they had a little VIP bit overlooking it, and we were just doing a piece, and it was incredible, and I loved it. It was like and it feels like going back in time now.
Yeah.
Going to
I think I watched the piece. I watched the piece that you were doing, and you said if you're going to come to a Grand Prix, come to Czech Republic, and it wasn't even on my radar.
No, it's cheap as well. I am a Northern Englander, and we love anything cheap.
Oh no,
cheap wins.
No, we're the same.
If you're spending thousands to come over to Europe, that's another factor. But between Jerez, Mugello, Czech Republic, and then Le Mans for the whole atmosphere, that's the biggest crowd. And that is a Wednesday to Monday thing.
Yep.
Well,
like
it's Tuesday, that. I think, this year.
Yeah.
Because of how the whatever holiday it is, Whitsun or something.
Yep.
So it was a long weekend. So everyone was there Tuesday, Wednesday, and it was full. So that's what we'd say is your Glastonbury. That's your big festival do. It's, again, what have I said there? 4 or 5 different ones.
Yeah.
But so many of them are such good events.
Well, there are talks that Phillip Island is it might not be a thing in a few years' time. So we got to look at these alternatives.
What would they look at? The Bend? What would they be looking at?
The Bend, one raceway in Queensland, there's talks. There's also, they're building a new track near the airport in Tullamarine as well.
That'll be the one.
Are they? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Avalon way.
And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm talking to James on the way down, I'm like, what Liberty Media coming in going, Phillip Island, 80,000 people. You know.
Yeah, but it looks so good.
Amazing.
It looks so good.
You talk to all the riders, best their favourite racetrack.
And where do you get great racing?
Yeah,
These have to be taken into account.
Yeah.
But
does it with Liberty Media, though? Do they come in and go, oh my God, the racing's amazing, it's the best there?
That's their...
Or do they look at money?
Talk about USP. Yeah, well, maybe they do, but they don't get money from ticket sales, really. They get money from the people paying them to have a race.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if the AGPC is still paying it to have a race because they've got one in Melbourne and then the other 6 months they get this here in Phillip Island, then I can see the status quo. I get it.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying and I'm right. But what do you get here guaranteed? What's the MotoGP's USP? The racing. What do you get in guaranteed in Phillip Island year in, year out? Incredible racing.
Yeah.
Like I think I look back and I can't remember a crap race. Maybe with some of the ones that Casey pissed off at the front. There were a few of them.
Yeah, well, 2010, 11.
But like you can
Crutchlow won from by 17 seconds one year, which is wild.
You can lock in 3 races to watch every year, and it's almost Jerez, Mugello, Phillip Island.
Yeah.
If you just want, as a fan, just this is what I watch. That's what you would watch.
Yeah.
You're always going to get good action at those. So I wouldn't want to move it, but this is my favourite racetrack. Layout for racing. This is the one that I always choose.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, like beach views, I stood up above turn 10 at Mandalika. That's not a bad view to watch the waves crashing in there. I was stood up there, I was like, it's not as cold as Siberia.
That's a great call. That's a great call.
It looked good on the telecast, and we've talked to a lot of people about it because we're obviously going to Malaysia next week, but geez, that would be a nice Grand Prix to go to.
Yeah, but it's not too hard.
Fucking hot though, I hear. Fucking hot.
This man sweats.
But the crowd
sweats. Look, I'll tell you, I sweat with the best of them.
The crowd on Friday didn't look too flash though at Mandalika.
There's no one there. There's no one there all weekend.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
What I would change there is I would open it to the locals. Make the tickets cost $1 or whatever notional amount. Bring them in. Bring them in because they are MotoGP market in Indonesia. You see Marc Marquez arrive there. That's like full Beatlemania. Turning up.
Which is crazy that they can't, a lot of them can't either get there or can't afford it, but they're maniacs for it.
Again, there's another talk of that one moving to nearer Jakarta.
Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, the bike market in Indonesia you touched on is massive.
It's huge. It's the biggest. It's one of the biggest countries in the world.
Like I remember, we travel to Bali a lot as Aussies. That's our holiday.
Yeah.
And like
I saw them all pissed at the airport coming here on the way here at Denpasar Airport.
Aussies are the worst to travel with.
You don't want to get on a Jetstar flight from Denpasar to Melbourne. Okay, don't do it.
I was right next to the Jetstar. I was on a Garuda flight. It was still but somewhat genuinely. It's happened. I texted Neil Hodgson as soon as it happened because he's coming from there tonight. He's going to be flying in.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, someone that pissed. They've just fallen over in front of me. Like literally walking along and just gone down like a sack of shit. Honestly.
That's Aussie's point. We're the worst travellers.
Don't go to an airport lounge.
Mate, it was just like Malaga Airport in Spain for the Brits coming back from the Costa del Sol. It was just the same. Yeah.
But you go there and the scooters, half of them are covered in Marquez, Repsol, Honda stuff.
Yeah, they love it. They love it.
They love it.
It's it is. You're talking top tier sport in Indonesia.
Formula One's not a thing. Formula One is not a thing, and it's all motorbikes over there.
And that's in a population of nearly 300 million.
100%. Yeah.
Good point. Gav, we've got 10 quickfire questions for you.
Oh yes, here we go.
This is our favourite thing. We've tailored this to riders, but we're going to put you in this as well.
Can I point out that I've been on a plane for the last
That's all right. You'll be fine.
No excuses.
Okay. First thing that comes to your head, you got to answer.
Come on.
Favorite racetrack in the world.
Phillip Island. There we are.
Favorite food / cheat meal.
Favorite food would be Thai.
Thai food. I like that.
We saw you in Thailand. That restaurant was horrible. Remember that where we had to wait fucking an hour?
Oh yeah. Neil Hodgson took a piss in front of us.
Standard.
And talking to us halfway through.
Rider is as rider does.
Favorite sport besides obviously motorcycles?
Football, yeah.
Football. Who's your team?
Leeds United fan.
Leeds United. Marc Viduka.
Yeah, Marc Viduka, Harry Kuehl.
Hey, big affiliation with the Aussies.
A lot of Aussies. I know. I remember when I used to come over here when Leeds were doing better than they're doing now.
Great call.
And always had tons of.
He has pulled that out of his ass like you've never seen it before.
Marc Viduka was a hero of mine.
I will die on that for the rest of the weekend.
I modelled my football career. Oh my God! I loved it.
He was always hoping 06 that the Italians flopped.
Italians got
Remember the Italians flopped and we got kicked
Aussies
out.
don't give a shit about soccer until 06 grand final World Cup.
Prelim final. Yeah.
Aisle seat or window seat?
Window.
I like that. Apple or Android?
Apple all
Good
the
man.
way. Yeah.
Good man. Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, why not? Go on.
Yep.
Just say that to wind up my mum's husband who's Italian.
Who's the most famous person in your contacts?
Casey Stoner.
Okay, I like that.
Nice.
Is that right?
Do you have a hidden talent?
Do I have a hidden talent?
Can't say talking. 'cause
Probably
you're a
can't
talker.
say on air. Call my missus.
All right, what's the number?
Now, if you were a rider, would you rather win a race on the last corner or by 30 seconds?
I'm a journalist. Last corner.
Yeah.
A rider, I'm sure, will always say by 30 seconds.
You're right. You are so right. You're so right.
Well, we're speaking to a few riders tomorrow,
okay,
so I like that. Or if you're winning a race, is it a wheelie or is it a stoppie?
Wheelie, yeah. Got to be a good wheelie. I'm terrible at wheelies. So bad.
We all are. Gav, thank you for coming on, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Anything you want to plug, or your own shows, everything like that?
No, I've got nothing doing. Yeah, you just enjoy Phillip Island this week.
Listen to TNT coverage this weekend.
Yeah, if you've got hooky feeds. Listen,
We wish we could have the TNT coverage.
Hey, a lot of people down here wouldn't.
Yeah, we spoke about that last time.
Silverstone, that one when we had that one race.
Look. I
I really appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome.
Pleasure. As always, boys.
Thank you for sparing your time. It's amazing.
All right, cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gav.